Before I get in the shower and I start my day, I just want to give y'all a few reasons on why I personally don't like being a CNA, and maybe if you guys are trying to become a CNA, weigh out your options and figure out if this is something you really want to do. So the question I want to say is being a CNA something that you really want to do? Let me go into detail. So I've been a CNA for over 2 years now. I started back in about 2020. I would say no, I got my license in 2021. Yeah, because it's 2023. So I got my license in 2021. And I really didn't want to do CNA, but people convinced me to do it because I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life. And I was tired of working retail, and I was tired of working at warehouses like Amazon and stuff. So I said, okay, you know what, I'll do CNA. Yeah, the courses were 2 weeks straight, and the pricing was outrageous. It was $1,000 to take the course for a 2-week course. $1,000 is a lot. So and it was out of pocket, so I paid the $1,000. Well, I had someone help me pay the $1,000, and I took the course. It was easy. When I first started doing CNA, I didn't think that it was going to be a lot of hands-on work. I did think that when I got my first experience, it was a lot. It was a lot of heavy lifting, a lot of heavy everything. So my experience was like crazy. So when I first got there were a lot of elderly people where I worked at. I worked on a dementia unit, so people who had dementia, and it was crazy. There was a lot of people, a lot of poop, a lot of feces, a lot of urine, a lot of vomit, people with diseases, ailments, limbs gone, all types of stuff. And they wanted me to lift heavy people over 200 pounds. They want me to roll them side to side. And it's not to say that I didn't know what I was getting myself into, because I did. But as my first CNA job, it was a lot. I figured maybe if I would have did something more so of rehab, then it would have been a lot easier for me. But I was on a dementia unit for people for long-term care. So this is for people who are going to be living there pretty much the rest of their lives. But nonetheless, I got through it, and I stuck around for about 6 months. After that, I went back to doing regular jobs, but then I came back to doing another memory care, and there was a lot of people, residents trying to physically fight you, grown men trying to physically fight you, put their hands on you and stuff. So let me give you a few reasons why I do not think that CNA is something that I like, and it might be something that you like. Some people like the challenge, and some people like that that little extra work to make them feel like they're really making a change. The reasons why I liked being a CNA, because I liked to help people. I like to help people. I always found myself useful when I was helping people, taking care of people. That is something that I hold value to myself, and that is kind of my love language on how I give. It's acts of service, so feeding and cooking and stuff like that. But that was the main reason why I wanted to get into it, and so I did. But the reasons why I do not like being a CNA as of right now, and why I would like to get into something else. First of all, let's talk about pay. On average, in the state of Wisconsin, an actual CNA job, if you have less than 2 years, you're really going to find something in the ranges of $15 to $18. With the recession going on right now, $15 to $18 is not enough money to really get you by. I mean, to really feel like you have money in your pocket, a lot of spending money. It's really only enough to get you by, unless you pick up the extra hours, which they do offer. Now, being a CNA is a 24-hour job, so you can work first shift, you will work second shift, you can work third shift. That's one reason that I do like it, because you can always choose which shift you want, and you can always bounce from one shift to another. So yeah, that was a good key point right there too. But another reason why I do not like being a CNA as of right now, and I'm currently, going to veer off into something else. So I said pay. The pay isn't really that great. Now, if you have years of experience, like 2 years plus, you can also like kind of try to work your way into telling the company that you deserve more because you have more experience and you've done a lot more things. So you can really range from like to 20 to 22 or whatever, which is great. But like I said, you know, for the amount of work, it's just not worth $20 an hour. So yeah, but if this is something that you love to do and you enjoy doing, I would suggest, you know, do it. But also I would suggest working your way up to becoming a nurse, because as a nurse you're not doing a lot of physical work and not a lot of work that's like heavy on your back and like hard to do. So yeah, so the pay isn't really that great for the amount of labor that you do. People out here who make the same amount of money as me, but they don't have to wipe feces, they don't have to wipe fecal matter, they don't have to, you know, deal with people kicking them or punching them or screaming at them or spitting their food out at them or calling them derogative terms of their race or being racist towards them or anything in that aspect. And it just diminishes your mental state and it makes you not want to go to work. Now, another plus is they do have agencies and contracts and travel CNA, which means agency just means that you work for a company. You're not really working for let's say a hospital. You work for a company that sends you to the hospital, and the company usually pays a little bit more. So that's a plus. You can do that. Agencies usually pay a little bit more because you are bouncing from one facility to another. Like the jobs are like different locations depending on what you pick, and you're just there for extra help. So but you have to have your license for about 2 years plus. And yeah, and then they have contracts. Now contracts, you sign up to do however amount of weeks you signed up for. So that could be 4-week contract, 8-week contract, 12-week contract, and they pay you a good amount. Now with the contracts you're signing, that you will show up for your shifts, and usually they're pretty lenient if you have like a doctor's excuse. But if you just call in for some reason, like, hey, I can't make it, my kid is sick or whatever, then you can definitely lose your contract. So just be mindful of that as well, because that's another thing, but that is also a plus. So yeah, there's agency, there's contracts, and then there's travel CNAs. A lot of companies will pay you to go to different cities, different states, to help out at facilities where they have a lot of people living, a lot of staff. So they'll send you places. Sometimes they'll pay for your hotel, sometimes they'll pay for your travel. You'll get bonuses, you'll get a really great pay. They'll pay a lot. So my last job that I worked, I did a contract and it was for $27 an hour, which was really great. It was a couple of weeks in the summer, and you know, they do offer good things. And just the amount of hard labor and hard work, I really feel like you're really doing dirty work. You're really putting your all into this job, and you know, it's like mentally it's draining for you and physically it's draining for you. Like there's a lot. Thing that I find very difficult about being a CNA is the labor. Like I said, also they will give you, depending on where you work, it's a lot of understaffed because a lot of people aren't really doing like CNA positions and stuff. There are a lot of people, but there aren't a lot of people because they know how much time and effort and energy it requires to work this job. So you'll get a job and on average they'll give you 6 people to take care of through the day. 6 to 8 people on average. That's how much you really get. But then you'll go to some facilities and they'll be short staffed, and instead of them pulling somebody from an agency to come and help, or instead of them calling someone in, they'll just have you work. They'll just want you to just say, okay, well, it's just me and 2 other CNAs and it's a whole building. I want you to take half this building and you take half of this building. So now I'm left with 40 people and the other girl's left with 40 people. And then you'll end up having to leave some residents that are a little bit wet for the day. Like, you know, they urinated on themselves and you have 40 other people to take care of. So about time where you get done with those 40 people, it's the end of your shift, and you couldn't go back to the first person you changed. So now you're not giving them the proper cares that they should be giving. This is a lot to think about if you want to become a CNA. Yeah, what else do they have? Also, there's times where you have to feed residents. Feeding residents is no problem if you have experience with feeding babies. It's just the same, or feeding other people is just the same. Sometimes residents can have like slob that comes down, you know, just wipe their mouth, just as much as, like, I'm not trying to compare this to babies and say that they are babies, because they are not. These are grown people, these are humans, these are people with feelings and everything like that. So just be mindful, you know. Take care of them like you would take care of your grandparents. Take care of them like you would take care of your family. And it's just sad because a lot of people get left in these nursing homes and these group homes, and the family never come to see them, or they let them rot away. Their clothes will be too small. They won't have any clothes. And it's like, you want to spend your money on them and come in and pay for the stuff that you need, but you also need to make ends meet with you. So it can be very depressing. It can be very sad. But there is a lot of joy to it. You meet a lot of people, you get to know a lot of people, and you build a relationship with them. So that is another plus. But yeah, so if you're looking to be a CNA, these are just some things that I want to point out that they usually don't tell you. When signing up, they usually don't tell you that a lot of nurses do not come and help you as much as they say they will. You're probably thinking like being a CNA is like close to a nurse. A lot of times you don't even get to do some of the things that nurses do, where you're checking their vitals, where you're doing blood sugars, where you're doing new paper emissions and stuff like that. You don't get to do any of those things. You can do it depending on what company you are through, but 9 times out of 10, it's kind of like rare, or if you have free time. But for the most part, you're going to be cleaning poop all day. You're going to be cleaning throw up. You're going to be cleaning pee, and the smell will stick to your clothes and it will stick to your pores. You're going to be changing colostomy bags. And if you don't know what a colostomy bag is, it's basically where instead of them pooping out of their behind, they're pooping from their small intestines. The poop comes out of their small intestines and it comes into a bag off of their stomach. So there's a stoma in their stomach, like a little hole, and it goes to their small intestines, and that's where the poop comes out. You'll have to clean that bag. And when I tell you, a colostomy bag smells horrible. It is the most vile smell I've ever smelled before. And so if you have to ever clean a colostomy bag, just make sure you put some Vicks under your nose, put a mask on, something. But you have to be professional as well, because these people who do have colostomy bags, they might feel some type of way if you're covering your nose or you're frowning up your face, because you're not the one who's dealing with it. They have to deal with that. So, you know, it is kind of like something you have to get used to. These are just things to be mindful for if you're looking to be a CNA. I would say try to stick to rehab, try to stick to hospitals, and try to stick to short-term care and stuff like that. If you're comfortable with doing long-term care, I would say become a CNA for about 2 years before you move into like long-term care, dementia, and like units like that, or trauma units and stuff, because it is a lot to manage mentally, physically, emotionally. You know, you get attached to these residents. And also, let's not forget, you're responsible of cleaning someone who has deceased. If they deceased on your shift and that is your resident for the day, you are responsible for cleaning their body, making sure they're clean for when their family comes to visit them. And if you're not comfortable with that, there are other CNAs who will come in and help, or will come in and take over for you. But if you're the only CNA for the day, or if you're the only two other CNAs besides you, you guys will have to collectively come in and clean up a dead body. And sometimes if it's hard for you to deal with that, I would just say be mindful of that too, because that is up to a CNA to get them clean. And these are things that people really don't tell you like that. They'll say the morgue will come and pick the body up, but they won't tell you that you have to clean a deceased body. You have to make sure that they're clean, and you know, it's out of respect. Like, that's out of respect. I've done it a couple of times where I clean people up who have passed, and these are people you have feelings for and people you attach to. These are people I watched, I cleaned them up, I gave them baths, I showered them, so I built connections with them, and to see them pass, it's like, it's very sad. It's almost like you became their family, especially when like their family never came to see them and you were the only person that they seen every day. It's very sad to see them go. So, you know, just be keep that in mind as well. If you're looking to be a CNA, sometimes you get attached to these people and they pass away, and it's hard, especially if you have to clean them up. It's very hard. And you know, out of respect, make sure they're clean for their family and stuff like that. And don't get me wrong, it's not something bad to do by cleaning a deceased body, but it's just the fact that some people can't tolerate things like that. So if you're one of those people who never seen a dead body, or who are frightened by dead bodies, keep that in mind as well. So I hope this video found use to anybody who's out there trying to become a CNA. Make sure you do a lot of research. Also look up more videos on YouTube on people experiences as a CNA, so you can kind of get like a secondhand like view on what it is to be a CNA. Because when you are taking your classes, a lot of time these nurses and people, they don't really go into depth because they're not really the CNA who's done it. And maybe they are, but a lot of times, you know, they're trying to sell you something. They're trying to sell you the job to keep people coming back, because they need workers like us. They need people to help with things like that. But I just want people to be more honest on what it is back end of being a CNA, and how hard it is, and what you have to go through, how people treat you and things like that. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you found it useful, please give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment below if you are in the healthcare field, and what routes you guys take instead, and how do you like your job as well. And I hope to see you guys in the next video. Bye.